So let me ask you this. When you start thinking and brainstorming up some strong beast mode fragrances, whether they be in your collection or just in the community in general, you probably think of some relatively obvious ones, right? Whether it be designer or niche. And those fragrances are great. Love beast mode fragrances, and I don't mind that they are well known and that they're popular. But the idea behind this video is to give you some surprisingly strong fragrances. So fragrances that definitely would not come to your mind when thinking about a beast mode, long-lasting, strong projecting fragrance, but yet they still are all of that. So are these hidden gems? Not necessarily. These are known, they are talked about to some extent, some more than others, but like I said, they're not going to be at the top of anyone's list when coming up with a beast mode fragrance until now, hopefully. So if you want something that is a little bit out of the norm and you want good performance, these are going to be for you. We've got all designers except for one, so 9 designers, 1 niche. I will link them all down below to Discounter so you can pick them up at a price below retail. Some affordable ones in here. Some not so affordable ones in here, really just a couple. But the majority of this video here is going to be very obtainable, and so I hope you guys enjoy it. I think we should go ahead and start right here. This one is Bentley for Men Silverlake. So this is what? Yeah, it's the newest Bentley for Men flanker. Definitely goes a more mainstream route. We've got mint, lemon, violet leaf, amberwood, musk. Has a little bit of a Acqua di Gio / Acqua di Gio Profondo type of smell. Very fresh, very bright, citrusy, ozonic. Smells great. Really a big fan of it. And what's nice about this one is it's a strong scent. So for the most part, the Bentley for Men line is known for being strong. The Eau de Toilette, the original, is a good performer. The Intense is super strong. Absolute, very good performer as well. And Silverlake is also nice. It's an Eau de Parfum concentration. Very sharp looking bottle here. The bottle really does kind of represent what this one's all about. Just a bright, light, fresh scent. And you know, you may not think of this one initially when coming up with some beast mode fragrances. You would probably think of some of the others in the line or other fragrances in general, but this one does have really good performance. I believe you can also get that one now for around the $40 range at Fragrance Buy. I will link it down below. A great deal. Next up, we do have that niche fragrance. We'll just go ahead and knock this one out right now. It's from Parfums de Marly. So you're probably like, Parfums de Marly, yeah, it's obvious. Leighton, Carlisle, Herod, Godolphin, Pegasus, Hobdon. Am I missing any? Yeah, probably. They have a lot of strong fragrances, and you're right. So what could be a hidden gem or one that you wouldn't think of normally? It would be this one right here. It would be Parfums de Marly Greenley, which is their newest freshie, and maybe their newest one altogether. This one's got apple, bergamot, oak moss, and musk. It's just a few of the notes. Very, very fresh. Now, this is a more recent addition to my collection. I actually did a first impressions and smelled it probably about a year ago now at this point, maybe not quite yet. So I've known about it for a while. I've had smelled it before. I still have my sample somewhere, but just recently I decided to go and pick up a bottle, trying to get ready for spring and summertime here. And I love it. I really, really do. Wasn't the biggest fan at first. It just didn't really click with me right away. And I was a little bit frustrated with the whole scheme behind this one. Not even scheme, but it was released, name changed, pulled off the market. They never updated anyone or said what was going on with it. Very confusing, and still it's kind of, you know, a little bit smoke and mirrors on what actually happened there. But nonetheless, it is easy to get now, or easier to get. You can get it at a little bit of a discount, and it's one that my girlfriend loves. I just got it in recently, sprayed it on, and she was like, whoa, what is that? I actually sprayed it up in the air and just kind of left the room, went down here to record. She texted me. She's like, whatever you just sprayed smells amazing. She could smell it throughout the whole upstairs living room area, and she loved it. Wore it on my skin, also loved it. So it's one that I can tell is going to be a really good compliment getter. It's going to fit in with Sedley, Percival, kind of their freshies there. It's a really nice kind of green aromatic take on, you know, a fresh scent. Smells fantastic. Very strong performer also. I was surprised. That was something that when doing my first impressions I wasn't for sure of. I never really tested it any further, just lost interest in it. But here lately, I could say this is a great performer, and it's definitely at probably the bottom of the list when thinking about Beast Mode Parfums de Marly's, but it really works well. Next up, we've got Armani Code ABSOLU. Gold. So of course, right, Armani code ABSOLU, you probably think about it, you probably will put it at the top of your list, but what about gold? Some people tend to forget about gold. There was a while where I didn't even have this, and there was a while where I did have it, and I kind of forgot about it. We've got tonka, iris, saffron, benzoin. So what this one does is it introduces the iris note, gives it a bit of a different twist, still playing off the Armani code ABSOLU DNA, just with its differences here. More of a creaminess coming from the iris instead, kind of a fresh floral component. Still very powdery, still very dusty, and still very strong. This one is a parfum, just like ABSOLU, I believe, or maybe ABSOLU's an EDP. It's gonna bug me if I don't set this straight. Oh, it is. Okay, so yeah, they're both still parfum concentrations, which is awesome. I knew that Armani code Profumo was a parfum, but I kind of forgot that they carried that over to ABSOLU. So parfum, very strong stuff. Good performer, good projection, and good longevity, of course, and it really cuts through the cold winter air like crazy. Let's go to a more affordable one now, kind of move over into that trend again. It's a Mercedes-Benz fragrance. This one is Le Parfum. So I've discovered this one recently also, and I've been very impressed. You know, the brand, they have some really good releases, some surprising releases. A lot of times it would be easy to look at a car brand like this and think that they're putting out junk. Even same with Bentley, but Bentley's proven themselves, and I have to say, after smelling a lot of these Mercedes fragrances, they've proven it as well. It's got oud, violet leaf, amber, vetiver. It's their take on an oud fragrance. You get a little bit of that smoky oud wood in the back. You get that nice violet leaf front and center, giving it a fresh balance. A little bit of amber, nice smoky, kind of clean vetiver note in here. It's impressive stuff. It's not what you would normally expect, but at the same time, it is still a designer level, entry level oud fragrance, something that will kind of give you an idea of what the note could smell like and how it can be used without going full force and spending a bunch of money and getting something that you would dislike. This one is in that $40 range, and it's a good performer. And one thing I do want to make clear, even though it is called Le Parfum, it is an EDP concentration, not an actual parfum, but it still does well, especially for the price. So next up we have a Prada fragrance, and this is Prada Amber Pour Homme Intense. So no, it's not Prada L'Homme Intense, which very, very unfortunately has been discontinued. This is Prada Amber Intense. And if you're into kind of classic, masculine, refined, smoky sweet mints fragrances, you need to get all over this. I mean, this is amazing. It's been a little while since I've smelled it, just a little bit. But every time I smell it, it's almost like the first time. Absolutely gorgeous. So I can read the notes right off the front of the bottle. Maybe it's kind of reflective. Basically, you have patchouli, myrrh, vanilla. What else did I write down? Patchouli, myrrh, vanilla. Can't even find it. And amber, basically, is what it's all about. It's a sweet, smoky, kind of resinous, and mature, refined, masculine scent. To some, this will smell a bit old school, a bit dated. So do be careful with this one. Before you jump into a blind buy, make sure you have a good stance on where you're at in terms of what you like. It's not going to be Prada L'Homme. It's not going to be Prada L'Homme Intense or any of those or any of the Prada Luna Rosas. This is a step in the much more mature direction. Again, for some, may smell old school. But for me, I think it's amazing. Fantastic quality, ultra smooth, and very strong. Next one is, this is crazy stuff here. When in stock, about $40 for 100 ml, so very affordable here. It's from AZZARO. It's from their Pour Homme collection. However, this smells nothing like AZZARO Pour Homme. And like I already said, this stuff is wild to me. Literally, and this is wild mint. So this one has mint, patchouli, calypsone, or the three notes that they give you. And here's what it smells like. It literally smells like mint chocolate. Chocolate mint. That's what it is. The calypsone kind of gives it this light, cooling, ozonic freshness, I believe, is kind of how it's described, something along those lines. The mint, you know what that's doing, and the patchouli is giving off this chocolatey feel. It's like I mentioned, it's crazy stuff. It's chocolate mint, literally. And the funny thing about this one is, it is absurdly strong. honestly, to me, sometimes almost too strong. Like, I wear this stuff. If I go more than 1 or 2 sprays, it's too much, and I'm wanting to scrub it off because it is obnoxious. It's a mere eau de toilette. It's affordable when it's in stock, and it is a beast mode of a scent. It's hard to keep this one under control. So from one price point to another, we're going back on the more expensive side. Still designer, and this is one that you can actually pick up at discounters. This brand typically is usually retail only. What is cool is that you can get this one. It is Platinum Egoiste by, of course, Chanel. So this stuff here, I've been talking about on the channel for a while. To this day, still one of my absolute favorites. It is a modern take on a barbershop aromatic fougere fragrance, done in the best way possible. It takes that DNA and it modernizes it. It refreshes it. It's got geranium, lavender, rosemary, clary sage, a bunch of herbal notes, aromatics, nice clean lavender. The geranium gives off a minty green pop. It smells like a guy who just stepped out of the shower, and instead of bathing with a blue, Dylan blue type of smell, he washed with like one of the most high-end, luxurious bars of soap ever. Like when you hear Prada L'Homme being described as like a super high-end hotel bar of soap, sure, but when you've smelled this, you kind of have a different perspective and a different level for that. I mean, this is the ultimate, like $100 bar of soap that smells like pure luxury here. What's nice about this one is it's an eau de toilette, so it wears more like a traditional fragrance, strong projection, you know, very bright, very crisp, but it also has great performance. It's an 8-hour scent on average, and a lot of times longer than that. It's a good projector. You may not expect it to be because some Chanels are a little bit on the average to some below average side, but this one kills it. You're not thinking about it when coming up with a beast mode scent, but this one is, especially when you get it in some heat, it goes wild. So you definitely probably aren't thinking about this one because the fragrance line, really there's technically 3, well, maybe 4 if you count the limited editions, but there's not too many in this line, but it started off on the wrong foot. This is Bad Boy Le Parfum. Okay, so the original is one that I'm not a fan of. It's a good mass-pleasing type of scent, so, you know, I'm not going to knock it. Just for me personally, scent-wise, I don't really enjoy it. However, I enjoy the scent of this one a lot, a ton. You can watch my first impressions. I was pleasantly surprised and shocked right off the first rip. It's got cannabis, it has leather, vetiver, like black pepper. And so what I like about this one is it has that cannabis kind of green aromatic note in here. It's not too smoky or strong or off-putting, but it has the leather. The leather and the black pepper mix to create this dry, kind of smoky, leathery type of undertone. Not too animalic. The vetiver also gives off a clean smokiness. It's a designer fragrance with a good amount of bite, a good amount of punch, and it stands out among everything else. It still has a little bit of that bad boy DNA in here, so that sweetness, that mass appeal. But it's a bit more interesting to people who are really into fragrances, and it's one that I find myself enjoying quite a bit. Almost a guilty pleasure. You wouldn't think of much of it, especially after smelling the original. It is an eau de parfum, not an actual parfum, but it's very strong stuff. It's well done, can be picked up on discounters now, and is really not a half bad get. It's really not a half bad get. I don't think that is a saying. I don't think it makes sense. But starting today, it's going to be one. Second to last, we have a Dolce & Gabbana scent. So already, you're like, Dolce & Gabbana, beast mode, doesn't add up. And let me throw you another curveball here. Dolce & Gabbana the One. Now you're probably like, okay, this dude is just lying to us straight up. That's not the case. Dolce & Gabbana the One. Royal Night. Giant 150 ml bottle, which you really don't need because it is strong. It really is. It's like beastly. So this one is that DNA, the one DNA without the tobacco, which sucks, but this is one of the strongest performing. You know, you could go look at Mysterious Night. That one's very strong, but it's a rose oud. Not everyone's going to be into it. And aside from that, it's really just kind of average performance and below. Cardamom, amber, sandalwood, and cedarwood are some of the main notes. So really for me, it's all about that sandalwood, very creamy. Of course, the amber as well. The amber-sandalwood combination is what really, you know, kind of sets this one apart here. It's strong stuff. It's an eau de parfum concentration, very good longevity, very good projection, and it still plays off that DNA. You still pick up on Dolce & Gabbana, the one in here. The only difference is no tobacco note. And what's nice is some people don't like tobacco. In some instances, other people wouldn't. Maybe your date or someone you're with has expressed that they don't like tobacco and fragrances. Most people probably don't even know what you're talking about, but it's possible. But also, this one is so much more smooth and creamy that for a super close encounter, like very, very close quarters, it actually might be better in some instances because it's buttery smooth. The one has that tobacco, has a little bit more of a pop. Regardless, very strong, beast mode stuff, and you wouldn't expect it. We're going to end the video on a good note here. A $20 fragrance for 100 milliliters. In this day and age, it doesn't get much cheaper than this. I mean, it does. You know, there's some $12, $15 fragrances out there, but they suck. And also, this doesn't suck, basically. I've lost my train of thought, but I'm going to roll with it, all right? This one is Roberto Cavalli UOMO, just the original, and it is an eau de toilette. Honey, violet, tonka. It's really all you need to know. It's mind-blowing to me. More brands need to take a look at what they're doing here and implement that. That opening is fantastic. Nice, sweet, bright honey and violet mixture. I'm going to spray it again. It's like juicy. The tonka bean comes underneath, giving it a nice sweet and slightly powdery support. It's impressive at this price point. Again, I can't stress this enough. $20, 100 milliliters. I mean, what else can I say? Performance is strong, a lot stronger than you would expect at this price point for an eau de toilette. And this DNA, I mean, it works so well. It's unique, it is different, and it will set you apart. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. That is 10 impressively strong fragrances. I was going to say designers, but we do have a niche in here. 10 impressively strong fragrances that you weren't expecting. These are beast mode and definitely not your first thought or your first choice when picking out a really good performer, but maybe now they will be. I will link them down below to discounters so you can pick them up at a price below retail. I think that's it. That's all I got. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.